Well, guys, it's here we are, part two of this Santa Fe historic high road, low road day trip with my friend Jack Schweitzer. Lots of history, lots of beautiful imagery, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And at the end, I'll link you both to the first part and to the third part so you don't miss anything. Take care. I'll see you at the end of the video.
Alrighty, well, we're just north of Santa Fe on the 4-lane coming down in. Out ahead of us, directly over the highway, are the Ortiz Mountains. And then there's children of a lesser god that are just to the right of the road coming into view right now. Those are the Cerrillos Hills. Those are the turquoise mining area. Pre-Columbian times, the Navajos sent slaves out here to mine turquoise. And the larger mountains off to the right are the north end of the Sandias. Sandia being watermelon in Spanish. We're going to get a good view of Santa Fe. We're coming into it now. You'll notice there aren't any high-rise buildings here. That's all part of the code. The Santa Fe School of Architecture was established in 1930s, 20s and 30s by an architect by the name of John Meme, who determined that we shouldn't look like every other place in the United States and we should focus on the architecture which was endemic to the Pueblo tribes, which is what happened. So we are going to head immediately over to the Plaza area and give you a little bit of road here to show you what we're going to be doing.
I apologize, you can't see Jack very well because of the sun coming in from his side of the car.
I'm not that photogenic anyhow, so.
And you might notice me eating. We had breakfast at Wendy's. So we had 4, bacon and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
How much did it cost us?
Well, with tax, $4.36. So there is a beltway, a two-lane beltway, by the way, around Santa Fe. It's called Paseo de Peralta, and we're going to be on that here shortly.
It's not a small place. I see a Ross Dress for Less and a Sprouts Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know what the population is of Santa Fe?
The population itself is about a little less than 80,000. And then the county itself is probably about 100 or 110,000, I think. But it's a big county. But the architecture has been maintained very well here. We're going to, we're on the, by the way, this is the beltway around Santa Fe. That gives you some kind of an idea of how undeveloped it is in many ways.
Oh, it reminds me so much of the beltway in D.C.
Yeah, except we're actually moving now. In any event, we're just to the kind of northwest of the plaza, and we're going to head over there. Start to see some of the older architecture here as well. We are on Guadalupe Street, and the Santa Fe River is just beyond this light. It flows all year, but it's seasonal in terms of its actual flow. It's a lot lower now. Were we to go down Guadalupe Street here, we would go into an area called the Analco Barrio, or the Analco neighborhood, and that was kind of like the cheap seats back in the day. And it's where the Genízaro and the Indians lived, and this was more of the Spanish side of the instead of the wrong side of the tracks, it was the wrong side of the river, I guess. But it's all beautiful. This is the Nuestra Senora de Guadalupe Church on the right. See that? Nuestra Senora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe, is the patron saint of the Western Hemisphere, by the way. So we're going to make some turns here and head up into the Plaza area. We could go here, but we're going to go up just probably to the next light and do that. Looks like an old 32 Ford to the right.
That's for sale.
Yeah.
It's a 32 Ford. So is that what you drove when you were young?
Yeah, that's what I drove when I was young. So 1832, I was driving. I've been reincarnated, apparently. I came back as a fat 75-year-old guy. So anyhow, there's a walkway over here and kind of a river walk, much lower than the ground level where we're at right now. So the roundhouse, which is the public governmental buildings, are going to be to the right here. We're not going to go over that way at all. But it's a nice, quaint, really walkable town for sure. There's a couple places we'll go beyond the plaza, but we want to give you a good start of the trip. Make a left on Galisteo here. And to the right, if you can see it, is it's the Capitol building. And we're turning into the older, well, it's all old, but this is
the Capitol.
This is the Capitol estate. Yep.
And one would think Albuquerque, but one would be wrong.
It would be, yeah. This
Albuquerque, what's that population? That's got to be close to a million.
Yeah, it's probably 1.1 million down there. We'll be coming into San Francisco Street. Here, the plaza will be to the right, the next frame, and then to the left is the Lensic Theater, which is a performing arts theater here. And we've got a few turistas in town today.
And these look pretty old, most of these buildings.
Look at this building here. That's Lensic there. That's where Jock's going to be on the 23rd. So directly ahead of us is the cathedral. That was built by a Jesuit, Bishop Lamy. Franciscans had been originally the place that had the priests who had been here. They were Spanish, and the Jesuits tore down the old mud church, they called it, and built that stone. And we are not going into the plaza today, folks, because they have got it closed. Oh, I forgot. Anyhow, this is about as close as we're going to get. Regrettably, I forgot it's the annual Indian art show. Mind, it's a terrible thing to have when you can't remember it. So,
and just looking at the plaza, I remember being there. I just remembered it was 30 years ago. A little over 30 years ago, I was there with a friend of mine. And one of the things she wanted to do was we rented a car and we drove almost 100 miles, it seems, out in a desert to a monastery that she wanted to visit.
That was at Catholic, probably. So we're just to the south of the plaza, by the way. So it's what is known as piss poor pre-planning on my part, or I would have known this. But we are coming into the the chapel at Loretto, which is the staircase that was built without any nails.
The miracle staircase.
Miracle staircase, yes. And this road right here is the old Santa Fe Trail where it came into town. This was the official end of the Santa Fe Trail, where we are right now. And the official start in 1829 of the old Spanish Trail, which went from Santa Fe. This is the start of it. And its western terminus was Los Angeles. And so we're going to scoot down here. We're going to go past the Inn at Loretto.
And is this the Miracle Staircase Church?
This is the Miracle Staircase Church.
So that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because this church was built, and there was a elevated balcony in the back of the church for the nuns,
right?
And for, I guess, they would sing during services, and the only way up there was a ladder, and there was concerns about them going up and down the ladder, and a stranger showed up and offered to build a staircase, and the only staircase that was going to work is one of these circular staircases. There wasn't room to build a traditional stair,
linear, yeah.
So it was circular. And here's the fascinating things about it that remain fascinations, is that one, although
I need to interject, this is the oldest church in the United States, by the way, on the right, and the oldest house is here on the left. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rob.
All right, so here's the important things about it. Although when you go to see it, you're going to see metal supports, those were added for preservation purposes. But the staircase operated for many, many years without any visible central support, which is, engineers look at it and do not understand how that could possibly be. And the other thing of note is, according to church records, this man was never paid for either for the wood or his labor. And they have studied the wood that was used, and the wood that was used is not available anywhere near here, nor was it available even to be shipped in. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding where the materials came from, how the structure integrity was maintained, and who this mystery man was. And there's a belief that it was Jesus. That's the legend. So that's the Miracle Staircase story, and it's worth understanding that.
Oldest house in the USA directly ahead of us here, owned by the Christian Brothers, and the oldest church. As Rob was talking about things, I turned the car around here so you could see these back side of the church and the oldest house. And since I don't want to go into that do not enter, we're going to go out the way they want us to go. And since we cannot go, regrettably, onto the plaza, we're going to take you on one of the most famous streets in this town. It's called Canyon Road. And we're going to take a run up Canyon Road, and then we'll start our journey north on the El Camino Real. Canyon Road is during the fall. And by the way, the crowds that you're seeing here are not typical of Santa Fe all the time. There's a lot less people here. This is just a special event. They've got some things closed down, and we probably have twice or three times as many tourists as we would normally have. So we're back on the Paseo de Peralta, and I may have overshot the runway, which I occasionally do. And of course, well, we're just going to do this anyhow. This is a Sequia Madre. Prior to the Spanish relocating here in 1608 from the 1598 settlement at Okeawinge, there had been an abandoned pueblo here, and they rejuvenated the water displacement, and this road follows and parallels Canyon Road, but this is called a Sequia Madre, which is the mother ditch. So this is one of the oldest occupied areas in Santa Fe as well. And we're going to scoot up this way because we can. And to the right where these people are walking is the actual acequia, by the way. And there may be water running in it right now. I'm not sure. So, any water in that, Rob? Doesn't look like it.
No.
So there's diversions up here that divert the Santa Fe River into this so that they can irrigate fields. And you can see this is very typical of the Santa Fe architecture, the early architecture as well, and the newer stuff, because they have to comply with certain regulations. So, and we turned here. We had been on the old Santa Fe Trail. So the Santa Fe Trail started in Missouri. It ended at the La Fonda Hotel, where the La Fonda Hotel is now, which is at the southeast corner of the plaza.
You're talking about the La Fonda in Taos.
No, the La Fonda.
We just saw the La Fonda in Taos.
Yes, but La Fonda means the hotel.
Right.
And so there's La Fonda in Santa Fe as well.
Okay.
And that was built by, subsequently, the improvements on it were by Fred Harvey and the Santa Fe Railroad. And so
you definitely don't want to come to Santa Fe on this weekend.
Yeah.
There's just, the traffic is terrible.
Well, the traffic control mechanism are two dogs running up here in the middle of the road, so that slows everybody down.
But there's a lot of people around.
I don't know who this dog belonged to, but and this gives you a real feel for what the residential architecture is. Very, very close proximity to the plaza.
And I'm sure that'll cost a premium in the real estate process.
I'd hate to tell you what I think some of these places cost.
I think,
but it's in the seven-figure
seven-figure,
yeah.
Right? Yeah,
yeah, for sure. And I don't know that it's low seven figures, but yeah, we have been paralleling the ditch, if you will, the water ditch. So, and certainly different than so much of the United States, architecturally and culturally. And it's like visiting a foreign country, but still sharing mostly a common language.
And the construction of these walls and the buildings, probably naively want to say stucco, but what is the construction material here?
It's what I call faux adobe, which is fake adobe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because adobe is mud, right?
It is. And some of these may be mud that are covered with what they call an elastomeric. That's an elastic covering that will be able to stay on during different parts of the season. We're gonna get out of this because we can. So we're gonna head down towards the plaza now. We're gonna pick up the El Camino route from there and then head north. But actually, I think this is probably pretty good for the viewers because you get a feel for what it's like in the town. We are on Canyon Road now. I hooked a Louie, and we're headed down Canyon Road right now. On the left-hand side down here is a place called El Farolito, which is the oldest restaurant, continuously operating restaurant in Santa Fe. And it's been there, I'm guessing, about a week or two. So, and we're going to be diverted around again here, and then we're going to pick up East Palace Avenue. So, we're going in circles right now, folks, but that'll end shortly. But again, it's an opportunity to see what the neighborhoods look like in Santa Fe, and this is very, very typical of most of the older historic parts of town, and even the newer parts of town share the same philosophical architectural experience.
You may notice that you've got a much more higher definition, clearer view. I had discovered the first part of the trip. I think I was recording at 1080p, and now I'm recording at 4K, so you'll probably see a difference. There are no sidewalks here. So if you want to walk down the street, you have to walk on the street with the traffic.
And this is deja vu all over again. We were just here a couple minutes ago. We're going back up we want to pick up East Palace Avenue, which will take us down to the Camino Real, just on the north side of the plaza, as a matter of fact. Got a turn we're going to make right here, brother. How long has it been since you were here, Rob?
Over 30 years.
Okay. Well,
and I do not remember it being this crowded at all.
Well, these neighborhoods certainly haven't changed in 30 years, I don't think.
Well, I mean the square. And
yeah, and that's just
and the
that's
people
just because of
crawling all over downtown.
Yeah, the events that are going on right now. So, all right, so we're on East Palace right now. And the Palace of the Governors is on Palace Road. It's the oldest, I don't want to put it. It's the oldest continuous governmental building in the United States. And it occupies the north side of the plaza, which regrettably we're not going to see. But since we do have Google, you guys, you can certainly Google it and see what it looks like. There's part of it's a museum, and there are a lot of different research libraries that are located there as well. So, Santa Fe River's to the left here, and you can see the riparian area where it's all green. That's as a result of the water that's there. I've been here long enough, I don't think of this as desert. I guess some people might, but I don't. If it is desert, it's very high desert. But it's a beautiful town. Great place culturally, great mix of Anglo and Spanish, Mexican. And
I'm betting there's some pretty good eateries in town
yep.
here.
So we're gonna take a risk here and scoot down to see if we can.
So in Texas, it's called Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Cuisine. What is it called in New Mexico?
New Mexican.
New Mexican?
Yeah. Yeah. And so you can go to the New Mexican restaurant, or you can go to the New Mexican restaurant. So it's confusing, but our frijoles we don't smash. And we eat a lot more chili And there are of course parallels to Mexican cuisine, but it's a distinctly different cuisine here. Beans are left whole and cooked, but so there are other things. I think Mexican, depending on what state you are in Mexico, there's a lot more diversity there. We would be similar to a Mexican state's provincial or state cuisine. So
Is chili cheeseburger considered New Mexico?
chili cheeseburger is definitely considered New Mexican. And guess what Jack just did? He made a screw up. So this light is the old Santa Fe Trail, and we're blocked to the right here. I don't think we can get in that way, but we'll see. We may be able to. We're gonna give it a shot. Let's see if they block us here. Nope. We're gonna make it up to part of the event here.
So Jack and I had, if you haven't seen the video, we had a Hatch chili cheeseburger.
You bet.
At the saloon in Eagle Nest.
Yeah, Laguna Vista, which we call the Goonie, by the way.
Which I had for lunch and dinner. I cut it in half and had half for lunch and half for dinner. And I still have a little bit left in my fridge. It was amazing. The thing that they did that was a little surprising, that really made it for me, was they put a very small little bit of avocado in there.
With raw, yeah.
And raw onion. It was, and if you don't like spicy food, a lot of people don't like spicy food. I'm not a big fan of spicy food. But the chili, it's not hot. It's a slight warmness that enhances the other flavors.
Yep.
And it's hard to describe other than that way. But for a guy that doesn't like spicy food, the chili cheeseburger. And now my friends Deborah Dickinson and Frugal RV Gal went on a pilgrimage, I think 2 years ago, where they stayed in almost every state park. And the pilgrimage was to get the best chili cheeseburger in New Mexico. And was on a call with Deborah yesterday, a Zoom call, and someone asked her, what was the verdict? And she's like, I'll have to go back to the video. I don't remember. Probably because there probably was a winner, but I doubt it was a very dramatic difference.
Well, chili cheeseburgers are like pizza. You have, Chicago style, New York style, thin crust, moderate crust. The best ones, though, are the ones that people take the time and use the fire roasted chilies. They're not coming from a can. There is a depth and a taste to fire roasted chilies. Getting them, you can buy them right now, or $26 for 24 pounds, and they'll fire roast them in these big rotating bins with propane, and they'll empty that into a plastic bag in a cardboard box. You take it home, you let it set overnight. That's what I do. I know people may see it differently. I let it set overnight, and that sweats them, and I take them and I freeze them in Ziploc bags after that. I don't remove the skin until I thaw them later for use. Last year I bought 96 pounds. So
if you want nice chili peppers, right? I guess they don't use those chili peppers.
Yep.
You go to a little town called Hatch.
Yep. Hatch is the number one producer, and that's located in the southern part of the state. And the Hatch chili is a little subspecies of, just called a Big Jim, I think is what that is. And I have to tell you that what I just told you about how I process those chilies came from an elderly, nearly 100-year-old New Mexican woman who said she doesn't peel them all away and freeze them. She thinks that freezing them with the skins and in the liquor that results from that adds a dimension to I'm in the wrong lane here. Let's see, we can't get that corrected. Adds a different dimension to the chili as well. So
Now, you can probably connect the dots here for me, because I was staying in a state park right near Hatch, maybe 20 miles away, where there was a fort that you could tour next to it. Where was I, Jack?
It wasn't Fort Stanton.
No.
I'm trying. Yeah, there are ruins for the fort, but it's not ringing a bell. Sorry. But I've been there. Just off the interstate, as a matter of fact, I believe. So again, it would not appear I know what the hell I'm doing or where I'm at here, but I do. It's just they got roads blocked off. So I know Santa Fe pretty well. This is crazy busy for Santa Fe, by the way. So if you see this and think, well, hell, I'm not going to Santa Fe because it looks like Manhattan, this is not what it looks like normally. It's a nice kind of laid back place. And when the weather gets a little bit colder here, all you're going to be able to smell here is going to be pinon and juniper smoke in the air coming from the fireplaces. And yes, that was a pink light, by the way. We're on the Beltway right now. Sounds ridiculous to say that, but
So isn't going through a red light a violation of your pre-release agreement out of the prison?
It might be, but you know, I just give him a pseudonym. So and on behalf of Rob, because I'm the one that initiated this, I want to apologize for these traffic delays, because we're going to be saying goodbye to this pretty quick, by the way. So we're going to clear this. The plaza's 2 blocks to the left, to give you an idea. Up on top of the hill, if you can see the cross, that is called Fort Marcy. So in 1846, when we took possession of New Mexico in the Mexican-American War, they put a fort up there with cannons directed to the government buildings here.
See it straight up there. Yeah. Now the tree's blocking it, but you should have been able to see it. Especially those of you on 72-inch high-definition, ultra-high-definition televisions.
Right. And so that up on that hill up there is where they have a large 60, 80-foot high mannequin called Zozobra, Old Man Gloom. And people take their mortgages that they've paid off and their divorce papers and all the other things, and they bring it here and they stuff him with all those papers, and then they ignite him on a fall evening. It's called the Burning of Old Man Gloom. It's been going on for nearly 100 years.
Now, our friend from our long trip, Maureen, lives here. She's not in town, but she lives here.
Right.
The one that's probably currently wanted by Game and Fish.
Yeah, I think there's an arrest warrant out for her now. So we are right now. We're going to be making a right on Bishop's Lodge Road, which is named after Bishop Lamy, who built the cathedral here, the Jesuit priest, and who was the main character in Willa Cather, who wrote Little House on the Prairie. She wrote Death Comes for the Archbishop. She was talking about him. This is a Masonic lodge here. Kit Carson was a member of that.
And we're on the old Spanish...
And we're on the old Spanish Trail and the Camino Real del Tierra Adentro. Headed north, finally. I've been the driver navigator, and I haven't done such a good job. Anyhow, so we're barely off the plaza, and were we to make a right-hand turn here, you are 15 miles from the ski area, which is located up at 11,000 feet. So it's a 20-minute, 25-minute ride.
So that's the peak of the mountain? Is it 11,000?
No, it's where the ski area is at. Yeah,
Okay.
peak of the mountain's up over 12. It's called Santa Fe Baldy. So we're on the old road, and we will be going from this fairly well-developed 2-lane road to a goat path here in a little bit, and you'll notice that as well. We're going to be going by the Bishop's Lodge. This is where Bishop Lamy spent his summers. It's not that far out of Santa Fe itself, but it's at a higher elevation, and it was thus a little bit cooler. But Santa Fe's at 7,000 feet. It's the highest state capital up in the United States.
Really?
It is.
Even Denver?
Yeah. Oh, Denver's
just
only,
mile high. It's only
5280. Yep. Yeah, and of course that elevation's set at the top step, I think, of the state capitol in Denver. And I would ask my phone what the exact elevation is here, but somebody left it at the house this morning, so we're 100, less than 100
Well, your
miles
wife
from Eagle Nest.
was responsible for that, right? Wasn't that her? Yeah, her mistake.
I'm blaming her. She was sleeping at the time, or she'd have notified me that I had done that. So the mountains to the right, folks, are the Sangre de Cristos. We're on the west side of them, and Eagle Nest is on the east side of them. And air miles, I don't know, air miles were probably only about 80 miles from Eagle Nest, by the way, the adventure base camp. And we have an explorer's guide. Go to visiteaglenest.org for all your information for that locale. But it's a great place for day trips. And I don't know if I've said this in a previous one, but I used to live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I lived in Colorado for over 10 years in the Golden area. And you would have to dynamite me out of here. We have, for whatever reason, New Mexico has maintained a lot of its charm. I call it Colorado without the crowds. Although, after what you just saw, you'll think I'm a liar, but I'm not.
Well, no. Well, you're a fisherman and a liar.
A fisherman, a liar, and a historian. So a historian, weatherman, and a fly fisherman are all liars. And fly fishermen do take it to a new level, I have to admit. So this is where Bishop Lamy would spend his summers. Bishop's Lodge was purchased by some conglomerate, and they've redone it and spent a whole lot of money on it, and it's like $400 or $500 a night, which is just a wee bit beyond where my budget takes me. But it says here.
Yeah, my limit's 400 a night.
Yeah, me too. 400 pennies. And I know that so we're descending down to. We're going to come out in a little town called Tesuque, Tesuque, Tesuque. And we're going to be on the oldest part, the narrowest part of the trail here shortly. Bishop's Lodge is to the right.
Yeah, I see they have a lot of horses at Bishop's Lodge.
But as Robert Frost said, and stopping by in the evening, snowy woods in the evening, we have many a mile to go before we sleep. So we're gonna press on. We are now in the traditional village of Tesuque, and that's more traffic than I've seen on this road in about 20 years. So a lot of that's as a result of whatever the event is. I think it's jewelry and Native American jewelry selling. So so this is it, the Old Spanish Trail and the El Camino Real.
All right, we'll be back soon.
This stretch.
Okay.
We've got a few miles of the original roadway here, and we're gonna keep filming through here. You'll see there's a lot of galleries and some other things up towards the end here. Tesuque is a lot of Hollywood types, and some of which we know and not. I mean, Ally McGraw, of course, I'm dating myself there. Val Kilmer used to live here. Gene Hackman just died here not too long ago.
Oh, this is where his house was?
He was right up the road from here. Right where the turnoff was for the ski area that I pointed out. Hackman's house was about 2 miles up that road. So you can see this was set up for the old two-wheeled carts. Not necessarily all these big cars were riding. It's just Tesuque Creek on the right. And these are, little out-of-town areas that are close proximity to the plaza as well. Four Seasons, like the Four Seasons Hotel, is out here. They have cabins. I don't know what they are a night, probably $600 a night. But there's moderate priced hotels within walking distance to the plaza in El Sendero, I believe, is one of them. But anyhow, don't let that scare you if you want to visit Santa Fe. My favorite time actually is in fall or early spring, when things are the threat of winter is in the air, or the early stages of summer, and the flowers are blooming. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And what you find when you're in areas like this or visiting these places is that you're there with other people who are having a good time, and that tends to be pretty infectious. So, and it's a good reason, I think, for to adopt that resort ethos in our everyday lives. Now I'm pontificating. I better knock that off.
I just saw a sign that said the Bishop's Lodge is willing to contaminate our water.
Yeah. There's a battle over what the Bishop's Lodge is discharging into the Tesuque Creek. Not beyond the fact that that's taking place, I'm not sure what that is, but probably pretty well founded.
Wastewater is not tap
water, it says.
Stop Bishop's Lodge. There's a lot of signs up here.
Well, it was and there's a glassworks studio and all sorts of the bronze casting and stuff like that takes place here. If I hadn't mentioned it before, I'll mention it now. The highest concentration art galleries behind New York and LA is the Santa Fe to Taos corridor. Who'd have thunk that? Well, it's true. Unless I am proven wrong, and we'll put that in the notes.
And what's the measure per capita?
Just a concentration in an area, a geographic area, I guess.
Per square mile?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Either that or it's a lie, and I've been known to do that. So this is Tesuque here. There's a little joint here on the left, by the way, which is the hangout for wealthy people and the great unwashed masses like Rob and I. It's got a great hamburger, and we're not going to stop there today because we got to go. But you can see there's chili ristras for sale here, and century plants and all sorts of desert plants. These fellows come up from the southern part of the state and bring those up every weekend. And apparently there's no parking over at the other place. And speaking of Eagle Nest, there's a little place here on the right. I'm going to pull over. El Nido means the nest in Spanish. And El Nido de Águila is eagle nest in Spanish. So El Nido del Águila is the adventure base camp as well, just by a different name.
That's taking a big risk, riding a bike on this road. Yeah. I've never understood that, because all it takes is a moment of distraction on the part of a driver.
Well, they'll make a good-looking corpse, because two wheels at 20 pounds don't exactly comport with 3,000 pounds of steel. So, and actually, mountain bike riding off trail has more minor accidents, but not very many fatalities compared to road biking. And I like to bike too.
Yeah,
so, that's not an indictment of road biking.
My dangerous stuff is riding from Weathers RV Park to the museum where the shoulder reappears or appears but I'm pretty vigilant. I have my rear view mirror, and if the oncoming traffic behind me doesn't move over, I just get off and stop and wait for them to go by. And it's a very short distance.
Were we to rob a bank and make a right-hand turn here, we could stay at the Four Seasons.
It's the Four Seasons, huh?
The Four Seasons.
Not like the Rudy Giuliani press conference at the Four Seasons.
No, and neither one of us has our hair dyed and have it running down. Anyhow.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The press conference at the Four Seasons, and it was a landscaping company.
Yeah. So we have come out of Santa Fe off the Plaza on the trails, aforementioned trails. Came through the town of Tesuque. You can see this is one of the bridges. There are about 15 of them that each of the pueblos and or other communities were allowed to design and decorate for our highway system here. And we are getting back on the 4-lane for a brief period of time before we pick up another one of these.
You said we're about to get on like a dirt road, and instead we're on a highway.
Yeah.
What happened there?
I don't know. So, anyhow, the largest Catholic pilgrimage, I guess, or the largest pilgrimage, religious pilgrimage in North America takes place here. The majority of the people coming from the south, from Albuquerque, and they're carrying a pilgrimage to a little town up here called Chimayo, which in Tewa, I think it's Tewa language, means flint. And there's a Santuario de Chimayo, or the Sanctuary of Chimayo. It's a little town of a few people, and they believe that it is a place of miracles. And it gets approximately a visitation of about 300 to 350,000 people a year. And during Holy Week, that visitation alone is about 60,000. And these berms on these roads are marked off and delineated so that pilgrims can walk in relative safety. And the New Mexico State Police has got a big presence here as well. But it's not just from Albuquerque that they walk. We've had them coming through Eagle Nest from places up in Colorado. And we're going to see the Santuario de Chimayo here shortly. We're going to turn this off for right now until we turn off onto the actual high road connection up here, up ahead of us. All right, we're off of the main highway and we're going to head up into the high country onto the high road. We are on what constitutes the high road now. We're going to be coming into a little pueblo called Nomad. And there's a lake and a waterfall back in here. We're not going to have time to do that. We're going to take more of a general approach to this. There's a little Catholic church coming up here. We'll stop here for a quick circumnavigation of that. Here we are. The Pueblo of Nomad would be straight ahead were we to get down there. But that would be, to do it justice, would have to get down there for 40 minutes to an hour at a minimum. But you can see the mountains out ahead of you. They're going up to 12,000 feet. And off to the right of the screen is the Santa Fe ski area. And this is the church, Sacred Heart Catholic Church.
Yeah, and 11 o'clock on a Sunday. No services.
No services. Heathens. So we have taken Nambe first on the checkpoint here, and now we're going to be heading up the road towards Chimayo. And that church, I believe, there's actually a chapel around here called San Isidro, Saint Isidore. San Isidro is a patron saint of farmers. So you'll see a fair amount of chapels and churches named after San Isidro here in New Mexico. And this is a super highway compared to what it was like just a few years ago, by the way. This road was up not hardly more than one of these lanes, by the way. So and we're still on Pueblo land, by the way. Nomad Pueblo. Out ahead of us, if you can see that in the camera, are the Badlands. In Spanish, El Mel País. Badlands to travel is what they call them. So we're going to cut this off for a little bit until we get into some more interesting country.
Okay.
All right, well, we just went a short ways up the road. We're getting into the Badlands that I had mentioned here just a couple of minutes ago. And this is almost exclusively Bureau of Land Management, BLM lands, federal lands, of which a lot of the lower elevation lands in the American West are not Forest Service lands, they're BLM lands. And what BLM lands are those lands that were not, during the Homestead Act, the remaining federal lands that weren't designated national parks or national monuments or national forests and were not applied for a homestead became part of the BLM. So these are the lands for which no homesteads were applied. And in recent years, pejorative term for them had been Bureau of Livestock and Mining, because it was felt that the BLM was kind of in bed with the livestock and mining industries to the detriment of the other resources. And I'm not making that, I'm just telling you what I've heard. They have become much more resource oriented and recreation oriented. In fact, a lot of the new national monuments are in fact under the management of BLM, and so they have changed a little bit in what their focus are, but these are still lands that have been passed by for homestead. But the highest and best use of a lot of them might certainly be what they are now, which is recreational land. And this is beautiful. We are on that pilgrimage road right now that I had mentioned earlier, and we'll be coming into the little town of Chimayo.
So does that mean people walk along the edges?
They walk. Some of them carrying crosses, by the way, heavy crosses. Like I said, it's the largest religious pilgrimage in North America. I'm unaware of anything else. Well, that's since Mexico is North America. Apologies to our Mexican friends. This was the largest one in outside of Mexico, I should say. But again, it's like 350,000 people a year visit this little town. 60,000 of them, I don't know if that's in addition to or included in that 350,000, come during the Holy Week. So advice: if you want to go to Chimayo, don't do it during Holy Week unless you're a pilgrim, and try and look for any special events taking place in Santa Fe so you're not fighting crowds. Because one of the beauties of New Mexico is a little bit of the solitude still exists in parts of the West, and this is just beautiful country if you like this.
Now, do you consider this desert?
I mean, I do. I mean, it's a high desert. It's there's a beauty to this, and so if we look, I'm going to swing this camera. Oh, I'm swinging a camera around. We're going to swing around. There's mountain peaks up here going up to 13,000 feet directly over the road right now. We're probably not going to get that good a look at them from here, but we will when we get further up the road. And we're going to keep this on till we roll into Chimayo. So we've got a little bit of filming to do here as well. So right over the road and in the center of the camera frame right now is Truchas Peak. That is in the Pecos Wilderness. So the Pecos Wilderness runs roughly 80 miles north of Santa Fe and the Sangre de Cristos. And it's got 10, 11, 12,000, a couple 13,000 foot peaks there. So the sign there says High Road to Taos, Scenic Byway. And so we're going to go to Chimayo here, but this road continues up into the high country and a couple turn-offs up in there as well. But it is going to generally be that which you're looking at right now, which we call Badlands. And for those of you who have been to the Badlands and the Big Bad, we call the Big Badlands in South Dakota, that's very similar to this kind of look. So we're down here. We're probably 10 miles to the left is where all that development was. So in New Mexico, most of the development is going to be on the Rio Grande River corridor, and you can go short directions east and west of it and get into very, very wild country. There's a cross on this hill up ahead of us here, marking this as a pilgrimage. There's two different pilgrimages here. One down south of Albuquerque called the Tome Hill pilgrimage, and that is large as well.
There's the cross right there.
Yeah.
As we're passing.
Yep, there's the cross. So you've got this terrain, and then we've got above timberline, which is the same thing, same life zone as if you were above the Arctic Circle, and it's 8 miles to our right, and every life zone in between. And you can see, you're looking down, the green spot is ahead of you is the Chimayo area, and you can see it's surrounded by these Badlands.
So there must be a water source for all that green.
There is. Yep. So we'll be at the Santuario here shortly. Given what's going on in Santa Fe, there may be more people than usual here as well, but we'll see. And it is Sunday. So
there is a Florida tourist in front of us
but we'll be able to drive through these places. We're not going to be able to get out and film just because of the time constraints here. And we are, I don't know, we're probably on the low road. We're probably 75 miles from Eagle Nest, to put this in perspective. We've taken a convoluted road to get here, so don't think that this is what the drive times will be. Were you to be coming specifically here, it would be much, much faster.
I'm kind of hoping they pull over somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, they are right where we're pulling over.
What are we doing here?
We're gonna go to the Santuario de Chimayo right now. They're just pulling off. There may be some parking up near the Santuario. We're gonna drive by the Santuario anyhow, because the parking area you won't be able to get to see anything. A few cars down there, but this is the old high road.
Your blinker's still on.
As it existed back in the day. And since we don't have anybody behind us, probably able to get a little bit of time here. And even though there aren't any parking spaces here, I'm going to pull down in here so you can get a full-on view of the Santuario. Oops, somebody just pulled out of there.
Very crowded.
Yeah, very crowded. Matter of fact, yeah. But it's a small, little rural church. And it's beautiful architecture. And you get a chance to see it. Would that we had more time and we could take you inside. But we're hoping that this primes your pump for your own adventures. And we're going to back out of here. And there's a gift shop here, and there's some other commercialization here, but not really a whole lot, given all of the amount of people that come here. These are small little subsistence towns. This is the V Hill store and Potrero Trading Post. Has Chimayo red flake chili, which is a particular chili that's grown only here in the Chimayo area. And you can look at them online, Potrero Trading Post, the V Hill store. And also, these areas are known for weavers. So the men were weavers here, and the santeros would carve saints and other things, religious objects. So this is, if you want to call it, the Santuario area of Chimayo. A lot of these properties have been in the families for, hundreds of years. They're not selling out and having a lot of development.
Why don't we
done.
let this guy go for a while, because he's very on the brakes, on and off.
All right, you've made it all the way through to the end of part 2. You must love history, and you must love New Mexico and the scenery if you made it this far. It'll be amazing if people make it go through all 3 parts. I think some people will, because they'll find it interesting enough. But this is the end of part 2, and you can click up here for the 3rd part. Take care.